Hello everybody, it is I'm So Cutie, and I am back with another card tech. So this one, I definitely did not want it to be in the list that won Bologna, but it did. It won Bologna. It was there as a one of, but I actually had run a deck this weekend for set championships and a week prior with this card in it, and I have just found it to be an amazing card. And I'm here kind of just to justify why this card exists. Obviously, I'm not the one who won the DLC, but hopefully I can break it down a little bit better for people that may be on the fence of running the star or dig a little deeper. So let's get right into it. So again, I am at 400 plus MMR. I'm in Masters. I've been in Masters for a little bit now, just playing Blurple, really. But yeah, the meta is dominated by these really grindy games of purple steel, blue, green, blue, purple, 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 purple. Sometimes you get the dog, sometimes you get that, this, that, and yeah. You know, it's just kind of how we're looking. Obviously, it's not changing, so every time I kind of have to just put this in the video just so you have a little bit of reference of why this card is good and why the meta is asking for it. Because obviously this will change probably from set to set now that we're nearing the end of set champs, and I believe we get Whispers of the Well releases next week, so that would be super exciting. Again, this is the list that I actually ran at set champs this weekend. A lot of count changes, like a lot of counts that are actually very similar to the DLC Bologna list, but this deck was really fun. I actually ended up doing really well in my very first set champ, and then in my second set champ, I genuinely mulliganed pretty aggressively for ramp, and just the way that the game goes sometimes is I genuinely pulled into like nothing, like just uninks. And this list is 14 uninkables. I could have made it just a little bit more consistent or opted into better lines. Every single one of my games I played develop on turn 1, and it wasn't until like turn 4 or 5 that I hit my very first ramp option. So a little bit disheartening with the list, but so I did poorly on Sunday, but I did fine on Saturday. I got the card, not the mat, but yeah, this was the exact list, and just kind of like the breakthrough of why I initially had put this card in. Because I do believe that it's a little bit better than the star, especially in the meta that was established right before Bologna. Obviously, it's going to be just a little bit different again with card techs and decks becoming more popular. So you just take advantage of messier board states, right? So in mirrors especially, this card is definitely meant to be a mirror breaker, a green-blue breaker, because in states like this, right, where you're playing like who's gonna get the star first, etc., etc. Like, I'm playing Hades to your Hades. You've already cleared my board. I've cleared your board. We're playing like this top end until something can stick that can sing second star. And like this state of the board, right? Like, if they have Hades, and I know they have Hades. After I Hades their Hades, then they had to take a turn to like search for stuff, and like play out genies and whatever. And I locked it out with Elsa. Like, they're just gonna hit this Elsa, right? Like, they're gonna Hades the Elsa away. And the next turn, I get to play with like my 9-10 ink, the dig a little deeper for free, and as opposed to a second star where you're just drawing 5, dig a little deeper is look through the next 7 and pick 2, right? So you're looking through more cards, and you get to pick the best cards of those 7. For example, there's a lot of times where I play second star, and obviously it's 5 cards, it's still super strong, and I'll draw into like my 2 1-drops, a Develop a Visions, and then like the Hades, right? Like, okay, I don't really need these 1-drops. They're just going to get inked eventually, right? Why not just look through those 7 and just grab the Hades and the Visions? Or if 2 cards deeper, there's another Hades, let's grab both Hades, send everything else back. It's still 2-card advantage into you. It gets sung earlier and more effectively by you, and it is just much better at capitalizing on what this meta is dealing with at the moment. So, again, board states, because the Bologna list, I didn't have it specifically just because they posted it like really weirdly, but he was on 4 Yago and I believe 2 elephants. There's a lot of times where like you can just play elephant and then play Yago, and if the other player doesn't have an out and they can't really like Elsa or tap or quest for free, like just having this is enough to break the game. You literally get to sing the second, the dig a little deeper, right, to either set up and grab the second star that you still run at 1 or 2 of for later, right? And then you also get to just grab like your own TikTok, your Elsa shifts, your Hades to start fighting the Hades matches in the later game, right? Like, there's a lot of stuff that you get just by having bodies like this sing it just sooner. And on top of that, like if they play T-Bar stuff, they're exerting. So having characters like this in general just do much better at taking advantage of like poor trades that they'll make because they believe you're trying to get the second star off rather than the dig a little deeper off. Again, another example is like if your 4-drop gets sniped, right? A lot of the time in the mirror, you're just gonna play Elsa to take out that genie on the lateral side, or the bell to move damage to take out the genie from the trade. So if it's missing and you can opt into a line where you can play the Rafiki out, like this is dig a little deeper right here. And in the state where like they'll probably play TikTok, or they'll play like another genie and maybe like Sail or something, they can't go into Hades yet, right? So at this point, you're getting another 2-card advantage, and you're setting up for the turns where you're gonna have to play them in the top end, and it just lets you be in a position to beat that top end so that you are the player that almost always gets the second star off. Again, that's why I really understand the 1-1 split. I would rather have it be like, obviously if the deck could afford it, it would be 2-2, like that would be insane, but the deck can't afford it that way. I would probably do like 1-2, because the second star still is like the shining card, or 2-1 is also good because you're digging through 14 cards if you pull it off, and it's easier again. And then finding that one of is just much easier. That's why I personally ran it at 2-1. But I do expect Dig a Little Deeper to blow up just a little bit in lists, any blue list really. I think that Dig a Little Deeper is just a good card in general. Overall, though, again, a very quick video just breaking down this like very ticket card. The math is just much better in these messier board states. Filtering is just such a strong thing about blue. Blue will probably remain to be one of the strongest colors until the next rotation, and that's if they don't like reprint Develop Your Brain and Visions of the Future. Like those cards are just insanely broken. It's also singable, so it's free. It's just like second star, same cons, but it is faster than second star, and the deck remains consistent. Again, as you see, this guy got first in Swiss in Bologna, and then he ended up winning it all. So the deck is consistent. You don't need that one of, but the card tech choice in itself is there, and it's justified. The con is that it's not draw 5, but again, as I explained earlier, it's a little bit deeper than that, just because you are looking through 7, picking 2, and then it is uninkable, so it does get really bricky. There were a lot of times where I drew it along with my second star, and that was terrible. I mean, I was like, oh my god, I'm going to lose. And especially having 2 in my list. So the ratios for me were a little bit poor, especially with uninkables and like the lack of draw for me myself. I also feel like I got a little bit unlucky this weekend, but the card in itself is still very good, and it still performed where it needed to perform, especially because I had sat down and played a couple of other games after I had dropped, just with some people that were there and had time between their rounds and were doing good. So yeah, just again, another informal video. It's a little bit faster to kind of just explain songs like Dig a Little Deeper and tech choices, like if I were to make a video on magical maneuvers, for example, or one jump. Just a very quick breakdown on why this card is good and why this card is playable and why you will see this card going further into the meta, especially since it just won, obviously. But yeah, thank you guys for joining me very much. I will see you guys in the next card tech. I actually do have a very good first place finishing list from this weekend from one of my teammates on Ruby Amethyst. So I'm very excited to post that. That'll likely be the next video I post. But again, thank you guys very much, and I'll see you next time.